Hello everybody, welcome to this video of the whole paper mache series. So in the last videos I showed you how to make the starch, and then how to use the starch to make the paper paste, and then from the paste I showed you how to make the clay. Now I'm going to go ahead and make something with all of those ingredients. I've never done a Frankenstein head before, so this is not really a how-to video. You guys are just going to be with me on my journey on figuring out how to make this. Not make it, but you know how to bring it to life. These are other things that I've worked on with some of this paper mache stuff that I've used. Let's not waste any more time and get started with it. The first step you're gonna have to do is get messy and get some Vaseline and just rub it all over it, rub it all up and down on it, and then we're gonna get some saran wrap and wrap it up. Maya's gonna get messy. You might want to get some napkins on the standby for whenever you're done. I got this Frankenstein head at Joann's, I believe it's called. I'm gonna remove these bolts on the side of his neck because I'm not gonna use these. I'm gonna put some real ones in there. If I could take this off. All right, let me get my pliers here. There we go. So I don't damage this too much. I'm gonna go ahead and remove it. So it's a broken down toothpick, what's in there, holding it together. Didn't even come off, it just broke off. I'm gonna try to take a little bit more off. I don't want it breaking in the saran wrap. Poking the saran wrap. There it is. And now we get to the messy part. The reason that we're doing this right here, this Vaseline and the saran wrap, is because if it works out right, I'm trying to save this foam so I could reuse it again. I could probably buy another one, but I'm being kind of, cheap about it. Maybe I could get 2 out of it before it's completely unusable. Go ahead and get all the areas, make sure you're not overloading it. Okay, so the Vaseline helps the saran wrap stick to the mold as well. But if you add a lot of the Vaseline to it, you lose some of the details. So you don't want to use a lot of it. You don't want to have areas like, let me do it intentionally, like that. You get me? Because you lost that little detail right there. So you might want to, clean a little bit of it up. Like I have a lot of it in this corner right here. I want to add that detail. So we're just using it to lube it up. All right, I'm done with this. Close it up. So here comes the saran wrap. I really don't like this part, but here we go. I really don't like this part. I hate fucking around with this thing. Look at this. Look at this. And this is why I hate it, because once it starts clumping up, and it's really hard to take apart. Also put some on top of this head. Bring it down. And bring some back some more as well. What I'm doing, I'm trying to push it into his eyes, get the most as I can before it settles in the bottom. You don't want to push it all down because eventually you're gonna make the eyes go like that. So you want to do it, from the top down. Get all the grooves in there. Get into the nose, get the cheek. sure it's flat. Get into the mouth and then wrap around the lip. And then over the chin and then go under. All right, with the skull, this is the skull I use. I usually go from the top down, push everything in first, work it down. All right, so with the second piece, you're gonna put it in the back of the head. I'm putting it in the back of the head, bringing it around. Pretty much the whole head is wrapped. There's some places like this you want to keep an eye out for where it didn't get wrapped around, and that's later in the future is going to give you trouble, because whenever you add the paper mache, it's going to actually get stuck to it, and it's probably going to rip it and maybe tear up some of your paper mache layers. And there you go. Maybe I'll cut some of this with some scissors here. It's a little bit too big. If you have anything like this, make sure you cut it off, because if you make it into a layer later on, it's going to look like your head is going to be lopsided. So you want to take care of some of these, you know, some of this extra excess here. I'm gonna get some scissors and cut that off. Give me a second. All right, there's a little spot that I missed right here. What I'm gonna go ahead and do, I cut a little square from some of the excess that I cut, and I'm just gonna go ahead and put it there. And with some of the saran wraps already there, I'm gonna use it so it can hold it down like that. And now we're about to start adding the paper mache. It's a video up here somewhere. I'm gonna link to it, to the paste on how to make this. It's really fast, real simple. We're gonna go 6 layers on the head with a paper mache, just because whenever you start adding the paper clay, if you don't have enough, something strong enough for a foundation for the clay, is gonna start caving in, and it's gonna be a whole lot of problems. You wanna rip your papers and have all of these edges like this cut out. You wanna have these like tears, these little hairs left over. You don't wanna have straight edges like that, because it doesn't really help you, you know, get all of the paper stuck together. That's what really helps the paper mache stick together. So you add a little bit of glue to your surface, and then you put it down. I'm gonna go blank side up first. But it's really up to you, however you want to do, what side you want to do. Or you do a newspaper, then it doesn't really matter. Just keep track of how many layers you're going and how many layers deep you're going. All right, you see how it started lifting up back here? I need to correct it. This is some of the stuff that you want to get in your first layer of paper mache down. Stick it in there like that. Press down on it. There you go. You see how you're getting your layers down and how the little tears help. So I've been here for maybe like about 45 minutes. I did the first layer pretty much all over the head except the face. I wanted to mention here something, because all over the body, all over pretty much everywhere else, you're gonna use big strips of paper. You get me, to cover up most of it. But once you get into the face, you want to use little strips, little tiny maybe strips like this to go ahead and bend. Don't be afraid to use your fingers and actually press it in harder and actually mold this paper. Again, the more detail you get in these layers now, the easier it'll be later to, you know, bring it to life more whenever you add the clay. So don't be afraid to use your hands. At the same time, something that I realized while I was doing this, you might want to do the back part first and let that dry and then hold it, because if you go from one to the other, you know, you're gonna be undoing the layers you did over here with your, you know, nasty hands. So this took me about another 50 minutes. Layer 2 is pretty much ready to go. I'm gonna start working on layer 3. You can see that by the 3rd layer we've lost a lot of the fine detail. Some of the hair bumps are still there, but by the 6th, 7th, by the 5th, 6th, I think they won't be there.
The next day.
All right, so last night as I finished the 3rd layer, I realized that some of these, that it wasn't drying as fast as I wanted to. So I just went ahead and let it dry overnight, and it's pretty, you know, it's still kind of moist, but it's pretty good to start working on again. Something you guys want to keep in mind as you're working on it, if you have too many wet layers, eventually it'll just start peeling off. It'll get too heavy, so you need to give it time to set and, you know, to dry. Right, so this is the 5th layer on the Frankenstein head. We're almost done. Just giving you a look around of how it should be looking. Most of the detail is kind of still there. Most of his finer detail, like in his hair, is pretty much gone already. But we do have some of the rises. I guess, like I said, you're trying to push some of those up, because later on it's a good, you know, a good way to find where those hairlines are at, so you could replicate them. So yeah, there we go. All right, so it's done. 6 layers of paper mache on Frankenstein's head. Should look something like this. Go leave it outside for half a day to a day. So make sure it's completely dry for the next step. That way, whenever you put the paper, whenever you cut this, it doesn't start falling apart on you. As in for this video is pretty much done. I hope you guys like it. Like and subscribe, guys. Help us get to 300 subscribers. And I appreciate you guys stopping by. See you guys in the next video.